Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into what it really takes to make artificial intelligence work across a whole company. We're going to move past the hype and get into the nitty-gritty of building an organization that's truly powered by AI. So to get a sense of the stakes here, you just have to look at the numbers. And wow, they are huge. Experts are estimating that over the next decade, AI is going to add a staggering $13 trillion to the global economy. I mean, that's a number so big, it's going to completely reshape whole industries. But, and this is a big but, here's the reality check. For all that incredible promise, the data shows there's a huge disconnect. Only a tiny fraction, just 8% of companies, are actually succeeding in adopting AI on a wide scale. Most are just stuck, doing small pilot projects or using it in one little corner of the business.
Right? This massive gap between the potential and what's actually happening, it raises a really critical question that pretty much every leader should be asking themselves. Why are so many companies falling so short, even after investing a ton of money?
Well, as it turns out, the core problem isn't the code. It's not the algorithms, it's not the computers. The single biggest thing holding companies back is culture. It's the people side of things, the mindsets, the habits, the old ways of working. That's the real barrier. So to truly unlock all that power we were talking about, organizations have to make 3 really fundamental shifts in how they think and operate. And listen, these are not small tweaks. We're talking about a complete rewiring of the company's DNA.
And these shifts they're profound. First, you've got to break down those silos. AI isn't just a tech problem, it's a business problem, so you need real collaboration. Second, the way decisions get made has to change. It can't just be top-down anymore. You have to empower people on the front lines with data so they can make smart calls. And finally, the whole company mindset has to go from being rigid and afraid of risk to being agile and experimental, where, failing fast is just part of getting better.
Okay, so knowing we need to make these big cultural changes, what's the playbook? Let's dive into the practical steps that leaders can actually take to pave the way for this change and get it right from the start. It all, and I mean all, starts with your people. You need a clear vision, a real plan that sees the roadblocks coming, and a budget that proves you're serious about the people side of this, not just the tech. Explaining the why is absolutely everything. Let's be real, people are scared AI is going to take their jobs, so leaders have to frame this in a way that gets everybody on the same team. For instance, one huge retail company called their AI strategy an existential imperative to survive. See, it wasn't about replacing cashiers, it was about saving the company together. And get this, look at where the successful companies put their money. It's fascinating. Nearly 90% of them spend more than half their AI budget on the people stuff. Things like redesigning workflows, training, communication. It's a huge difference from everyone else, and it just goes to show that investing in adoption is what separates the winners from the losers. Without that focus on people and strategy, these projects go off the rails for some really predictable reasons. Some just don't have a real vision beyond a few small projects. Others fail because they keep the analytics geeks separate from the business folks, without anyone to act as a translator between them. And a whole lot of them just fizzle out because they never prove their worth. They don't connect their work to the bottom line, so they lose funding and momentum. All right, so let's get into the blueprint. How do you actually structure your organization for success? How do you organize your teams so that AI can really scale up effectively? Well, a really popular and effective way to do it is with what's called the hub and spoke model. Just think of it as the best of both worlds. You've got a central hub that builds up all the deep expertise, sets the standards, and finds the best talent, and then you have the spokes. Those are the actual business units out there on the front lines, driving projects and making sure people actually adopt the new tools. And this table just lays it out perfectly. The hub is always handling the big picture stuff, like recruiting top talent and setting company-wide standards. Meanwhile, the spokes, the business units, they always own the on-the-ground stuff, like tracking performance and driving adoption. It's this clear division of labor that makes it work so well. You get central expertise and local ownership. That's the key. But here's the thing. No matter what structure you pick, there's a secret ingredient, and it's this: a governing coalition. You absolutely have to have leaders from the business side, from IT, and from analytics, all sharing accountability. They're in it together. Without that shared ownership, any model's just going to fall apart. Okay, last part. An AI transformation isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. We're talking 18 to 36 months, easily. So how do you make sure all this hard work actually sticks for the long haul and doesn't just become another forgotten corporate initiative?
Keeping that momentum going really comes down to 4 things. It has to start at the very top, with leaders who don't just talk the talk, but walk the walk. Then, you have to make the business units, not the tech team, accountable for the results. You support that by constantly tracking adoption so you can spot problems early. And finally, you give people real incentives to change how they work.
And this quote just nails the point on accountability. Think about it. Analytics are just a tool for solving business problems. So doesn't it make sense that the business unit that's actually going to use the tool and get the benefits should be the one in charge? You can't just hand off ownership to the data team. It has to be business-led. When you get all these pieces right, the culture, the structure, the reinforcement, something really powerful starts to happen. You create this virtuous circle. Success builds momentum, which leads to more collaboration, which sparks more innovation. It transforms not just one little process, but the entire way your organization thinks and acts. So that leaves us with one final critical question for you to think about. Are you focused on just building the technology? Or are you focused on building the human-centered culture that's required to make that technology actually succeed? Because honestly, the answer to that question will determine everything.